Hello, welcome to my first FlossTube video. My name is Annette. I'm commonly referred to as Annette's Acre. Annette's Acre has been my blog name for a number of years, so I just sort of rolled that into the channel name. But this will be my first one. I've been watching an awful lot of various and sundry FlossTube videos. It's been incredibly entertaining. I've been part of the online stitching community since about 2000. So I've seen the evolution from bulletin boards to Facebook and now to the YouTube channels, and it's been it's great to see not only well-established stitchers like me that have been doing it for a number of years, but all the way to seeing brand new folks that are very proud to say they've been at it for 2 months, 4 months, something a year. It's great. It's really great to see all the revitalized interest. So my name is Annette. I live in Mesa, Arizona, with my husband of almost 19 years. If you can hear a little bit of guitar playing in the background, that's his usual Sunday practice. It is actually Sunday, April 17th. I also have 2 kids. My daughter is 26. She is a lab technician for Arizona Dairy. She does a lot of testing of milk. And then my son is 17 and will be graduating from high school in a month. Holy cow. But we live here in Mesa. We also have 3 dogs, miniature schnauzers, Greta, Nero, and Duchess, who are our babies. I'm sure eventually I'll work in some sort of picture or something. What I do for a living, I'm kind of doing the know your needleworker thing, at least some of the information, but I don't have the specific questions noted down. So I work as a IT contractor, specifically for regulatory and financial reporting in the financial services industry. I have a kind of odd situation. I live in Mesa, but during the week, my husband and I actually both travel to Northern California and work there Monday through Thursday, and then work here in Arizona on Friday. We work for a bank up in outside of the Oakland area, so we travel up there. We have an apartment in California that we stay in during the week, and then come back here for the weekend and go back on Mondays. So it makes for an interesting schedule. I've been doing it for almost 2 years. I was a consultant with a big blue consulting company, which is how I started working at the bank, and then this year converted to just being a straight contractor with the bank and taking up a part-time California residence. So from that perspective, it has a definite impact on stitching opportunity when I do what I do, and the fact that I basically have 2 sets of projects. I have my California projects, and then I have my Arizona projects. And I try not to carry things back and forth because it's kind of a pain in the butt. So I definitely have things I work on there versus things I work on here. Eventually they'll all end up here, I guess. I have roughly over 100 things hanging on the wall, plus probably another 20 finishes that aren't finished. So at least with having the apartment in California, I've got some additional wall space, which is helpful. As I mentioned, I've been stitching for a while, almost 30 years. Yeah, August 1987-ish, I was living in San Diego and needed was thinking about a Christmas gift for my grandmother. My grandmother was very needleworky. She did a lot of crochet, was her go-to, but she would basically try just about anything she's done. She did petit point, she did crochet, she did a lot of sewing and a lot of quilting. I'm sure she taught me to crochet, even though I don't remember. But she always appreciated very much handmade gifts. So come August, I was thinking, I need to do something different this year for Granny for Christmas. Luckily, I was, planning ahead. So I found a local needle workshop, which sadly no longer exists in San Diego. Went in and found a chart of a carousel horse that I knew that she would very much like. Bought all the supplies right then and there and took it home and started it, and I've pretty much been stitching ever since. While the kids were small, I didn't do a whole lot, but roughly the fall of 2000, I won one of my first eBay auctions for a Teresa Wentzler kit of Stroke of Midnight, and that led me to finding the TW bulletin board, which put me into my first foray into the online community, and I've pretty much been stitching solid since 2000, thus the 100 finishes in the house. So, like I said, I've been watching lots of FlossTube, Stash Queen, Queen of Stars, Trisha, 3L Threads, the left-handed Trisha, the left-handed stitcher, Deborah Fassler, who is actually another Arizona resident. I was very excited to find someone from Arizona that does this. And Joe, whose last name I can't recall right now, but oh my gosh, if I'm half as entertaining as Joe, then I figure I will be very successful. So, but while you're here, of course, is to see the stuff. So I've got some things laid out and staged, ready to go. I've got my finishes that I've had so far this year. Yay, go me. The whips that are currently kind of grabbing my attention, or have at least recently seen some action, as well as part of the stash enhancement that I've done this year, of which many of it can be directly attributed to FlossTube watching. While I obviously have 30 years of stash, and I'm not as easily enabled as I used to be. I really have to like something in order to fork over the money. What does get me are stitch-alongs. If you mention Sal, I'm in. So that's kind of engendered some recent acquisition. I recently joined some of the Facebook groups for stitching, thanks to, again, FlossTube. Cross Stitch and Discuss, which is a great group. Tremendous, gorgeous projects in there. Stitch Mania is the other one, and if you are a member of Stitch Mania, you know about the stitch-alongs, and I am a sucker for a good stitch-along. So since I joined them in February, I've pretty much eased my way into a number of those sales. And again, we'll talk about that. So let's start with the finishes that I've had for this year, because I'm going to show them off. The first one was a gift from a dear friend of mine that I saw in January. It's a relatively new designer called Meridian Designs, and this is the Doctor Who bikini. Meridian does a number of different bikinis, and a friend of mine does some of the model stitching, so she gave me a chart in January, which I then immediately got it started, and it was a really quick switch. As you might guess, I am a bit of a hooligan. I'm really a pop culture kind of gal. One of the other things that I do during the year is volunteer for Phoenix Comic Con, which is great fun, but we'll talk about that when it gets closer. So I'm all things pop culture. So that was the first finish. My second finish for the year this is an ornament. It's a counted canvas ornament from Foxwood Crossings called Santa's Puzzle. This was, I took it with me actually to California. This was one of the projects that I did in California and finished. It's really easy. It's just number 5 pearl cotton on mono canvas. There is a series of these, and this is the first one done. I've never actually finished a canvas or needlepoint object, so we'll see how long it stays in this shape instead of as a fully finished object, but it's done. The third finish that I had this year can be directly attributed to the Stitch Mania March stitch along being green, and that is the hands-on design year in chalk for March with its green. I have April started from the April showers stitch along. It is in California. I failed to take a picture before I left, so I can't even insert it. But I'll try to remember to be better about that this week when I go. So, additionally, I have just a few other things that I've been working on. There's the whole year of starts thing, which while I have plenty of stash to probably do a daily start for the next 5 to 10 years, not something that I can commit to given the work schedule and travel schedule. So, but I have sort of fallen into doing at least one start a month. The Meridian, the 3 pieces that I showed you were actually all started this year and finished. So, the other thing that I've started for April is, and again, it falls under the April showers, bring May flowers, Sal. It's called the Sudoku Delight. Again, it's a counted canvas piece by Needle Delights. It was recently released at Market in February, though this particular version of the chart was a class that was done last year or year before. And the colorway that I'm doing is waterfall. So here are the threads. Threads are coming pretty close. I maintain my threads on these cable key rings. I don't bobbinate. I don't do floss bags. I create a tag, and then put them all on the key ring. So that's how I maintain my floss. But here's my start for the Sudoku. How are we doing? Yeah. So there's the beginnings. That was my April start. I started this weekend. My birthday was Thursday, so it's kind of my birthday start for the year. The other piece that's been getting some love lately, also as part of the April stitch along, is Blackbird Designs Yellow Submarine. Very grainy. There he is. It's part of her Beetles series. And here is where we are. The fabric is not quite that bright. This is on 28 count Winter Solstice Jobelin from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. Again, it's not quite that blue. It's a little grayer than what is showing in the picture. So he saw a couple weekends worth of work. I finished this up this month. And that bottom border. And then two more whips from this year. If I worked on it this year, I'm counting it as a current whip. I probably have about 50 more hanging out in the stash. But, you know, it's a hobby. I'll get to it when I get to it. If nothing else, I've got plenty to do when I retire. Okay, so this was my March start. It is the Vickery Collection guitars. Like I said, my husband is his hobby is playing jazz guitar. He has a guitar collection, working on it at least. I don't know if you can hear him in the background or not, but Sunday's what we play. But here's the beginnings of that chart. So nicely detailed. Lots of colors. But then again, I started as a TW stitcher, so this is really nothing. Okay, and then the fourth one, that was my start February, I believe. She should be kind of familiar because I know I've seen her quite a bit. This is Gypsy Queen by Mirabelle. So, and I'm stitching her on clay Jobelin. A friend of mine and I are doing her together. And when we were together in January, we picked our fabric. There she is. That's where we are so far. Pretty good. She will come out to play for the rest of, for the last 2 weekends of April. Again, she's got some flowers and stuff, so she'll fit into the April theme pretty well. And she's got some flaws. So those are the whips that are currently getting some attention. Like I said, I probably got at least 50 more hanging out. In many cases, we start, something else grabs attention. I rarely, very rarely give away my needlework. Like many folks in the beginning, it was all about stitching for other people. Oh, stitches for my mom or stitches for Granny, which I did quite a bit in the beginning. But now, no, very rarely. And only if I'm absolutely confident that the person that is getting it will appreciate it and understand the work that went into it and the time and the expense, which that, you know, those kind of people aren't necessarily out there and easy to find. So, my grandmother passed away a few years ago, and I have gotten back most of the pieces that I stitched for her. There were a number. My mom has a few. That's about it. Like I said, I don't stitch for other people. I'm a very selfish stitcher. So as part of the Floss Tube, I've found all kinds of new things that, holy cow, didn't know. I mean, I either knew they existed or wasn't really interested, or holy cow. So, I fell in love with several colors that I saw of the Jodrey design. So, kind of started my Jodrey collection. I'm very much a collector. A lot of times I will get used. Thread of the month. I won't show them individually because other people do that. And it's nice, but I don't want to bore you. The other thing that recently showed up at my door, the bulky threads, silhouettes. This is the Alice in Wonderland, because right here, see the Red Queen? That's kind of me. My license plate on my car is Red Queen. My car is red. I wear a lot of red. This is the 1 week that my nails aren't red. Usually they're red. But I'm kind of known as the Red Queen. So this had to have. My only is that it is a colored. I mean, it's a beautiful fabric, but it's Aida, which is not something that I've stitched on regularly for years. But it's pretty soft, so we'll go for it and see how it goes. Should go quick, that's for sure. And it should also work well in California, which, while I have a knot light there, the lighting is not as good as what I have here in Arizona. So, got that. And so-and-so was having 10% off kits, so that worked out really well. So-and-so in the UK website. So the other big thing that I recently discovered, thanks to the Floss Tube stuff, is Soda Stitch. Soda Stitch. This chart exactly is what got me. And the reason, this gal right here, Gone with the Wind, one of my very favorite movies. She will be making an appearance in Mania. And eventually Juliet will be done as well. So, and they just released the little boys, so that's on its way to me as well. But of course, no chart should travel alone. I have a niece, six-year-old niece. Perfect. I'm all about the Halloween, my very favorite holiday. These are the boy festivals. The Viking and the Halloween. Too cute. And then of course, we had to have the matching girls, right? And then again, all about the Halloween. Seriously, I am Halloween. Favorite movies are like Nightmare Before Christmas. Watch it multiple times a year, though I could probably recite it without it being on. Princess Bride, love it. Also, pretty much anything in the Marvel universe. I'm a Captain America girl. Alright. So the other thing is, this weekend actually, my husband and I made a trip down to Tucson. Tucson's about 100 miles, I suppose, from our house, not very far. There was a guitar shop that he wanted to visit down there because they had a brand of guitars that he had been looking for. But he said, "Oh, if you come with me, you know, if you want to stop somewhere." I'm like, "Yeah, I would love to stop. Thank you very much." Deborah Fassler, on one of her recent videos, talked about the needle workshop called The West, which is not only needlework, but it's also gifts. I mean, it's got all kinds of stuff. It's an amazing store. So hello Google Maps, we found it, the navigation, and that was our first stop yesterday when we drove down. They were having 30% off their Belle Soie silks. Yeah, can't resist that. So I picked up several of the more variegated ones. I didn't get a huge number, right? I mean, 30% off. Holy crap! Who? You can't touch these things for $5, which is all I paid for them. So Yeah. So I got some silks. They're really variegated ones. I left the solid colors alone because not much benefit from that. They also had these fun little kits that are Navajo rugs, so very Arizona and very quick. They come with floss. They also come with Ada, which I will swap out to just a cream even weave of some sort of, I got plenty. And then this will be the next counted canvas piece that I do. This is Indian Summer by Laura Perrin. I'm not usually a Southwest person, even though I've lived in Arizona here for 20 years, maybe 20 years this year. Not usually, I don't have anything Southwest in my house. Traditional Southwest style, I should say. But I do, part of what I do is quilting as well. So this just speaks to me on many terms. And they had a model done in the shop, which was absolutely stunning. So that came home. So that's basically it for today. We'll see. I'll try to do these every couple of weeks. We'll see how my family will let me. I do have plans to participate in Stitch Mania, or let's say I'm making plans to participate in Stitch Mania. I'm not going to do 15 starts in 15 consecutive days. I'm, of course, making things a little bit more for so it'll work better for me. Right now I'm planning to do 7 or 8 starts and then pull up 7, the rest of them as whips that I haven't worked on this year from my stash. And Lord knows I have plenty to choose from there. I also have to be mindful of my travel, of what I can work on easily in California versus what I need to work on in Arizona. Because I fly on Thursdays, I usually don't pick up a needle on Thursday because we get home like 9 o'clock at night, and by then it's just been a work all day, travel, and I don't stitch on the plane. I do knit though. I knit on the plane, so that'll probably be something that I show in the future as to what my knitting is. So that's it. I have no idea how long this is, but it's less than 30 minutes, which was my goal. And I hope you enjoy. Like I said, anything you want to know, anything you want to see, I'll plan to show off some of my finishes as I kind of can incorporate them into the other things that I'm working on, so that, like I said, I have a few, even if I only did one per video. Holy cow, that's over 100 videos. Take me a while to get through them all. But we'll do it, so we'll share. I love seeing everybody else's, so I'm hoping that that's the same for me. Have a great day, and stitch all the things.